Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan. Welcome to Hail. My YouTube video is lagging. Can everyone hear me okay?
You're good.
Okay, cool. I am so excited for tonight. As you know, it's the Master of Suspense's birthday today, August 13th, and we were just talking about how not only is it his birthday, all our Hitchcock memorabilia, but not only is it his birthday, but it is Friday the 13th, so what a fitting day to have a birthday for the Master of Suspense. But I am joined today by Bernardo, the movie geek, so happy to have you here, man, as well as
Hi.
Nick from Nick Talks Flicks.
What's up?
And and Joey, my good friend, that we've been chatting for years on Instagram, but we've never officially done like a stream together. So happy to have Joey here too. And then Jackson is joining us in a few minutes, so he should
late.
be here pretty soon.
So everyone spam Jackson late in the chat.
Yeah,
Come on.
no kidding. So I was thinking the first 5 minutes, guys, I kind of wanted to just go through some comments as well as talk about what Hitchcock movies we've watched this month. And so really quickly, I'll start off with a few comments. Nostalgics, happy birthday, Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock, heck yes, hashtag Hitchcock. Yes, Joey. Joey, I think the whole stream you should just type, not talk. I'm just kidding. And then Gavin, I don't think Gavin's ever missed a stream before. Height, so happy to be here. Happy to have you here, Gavin. Thanks for joining. Really excited for the stream. Been watching a lot of Hitchcock for the last year. I'm going in order, and next one is Stage Fright. I just saw that movie the other day.
I need to see that one.
Yeah, I just watched it it was on Wednesday. I actually had a plan for that to be the last Hitchcock movie I ever see for the first time. And then Pat Hitchcock died, and I was like, well, that's the only one I haven't seen with her in it, so I'm going to watch that today. So I can change my plans a little bit. But
is that the one that released by Kino Lorber, right? The Blu-ray?
I don't know if it has a Kino Lorber release. That's a great question. No, I don't think it does. I don't think there's a Blu-ray release for Stage Fright, because I remember watching it and I was like, why isn't there a Blu-ray release? It's like it's underrated, but it's well enough known.
If they do, I'm getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Yeah, that'd be cool. I watched The Lodger recently, and Hitchcock has been great since the beginning. It's so true. The Lodger is amazing.
So good.
Yeah, I always think of that scene of them looking up and seeing the walking on the ceiling, and it's the glass. That's like,
and it's a solid film. Bonus point for me.
Yeah, exactly. Loved The Lodger, almost like a precursor to David Fincher. Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually true. Yes.
Okay. All right. Happy birthday. Josh is in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Josh. Nick is late. Yeah, that Nick guy is always late.
Yeah, it's
Brandon stopped by. Thanks for commenting, Brandon. Hope you can catch the stream a little later. We'll be having plenty of Hitchcock recommendations for you and for everyone. I watched 7 Hitchcocks for the first time in the past couple days.
He's somebody who we should have gotten in here.
Yeah, actually, Josh doesn't. No, yeah,
he's a good friend of mine. So yes,
same. Josh doesn't know this yet, but I want to have him on the channel at the end of the year for him and I to talk about James Stewart, because him and I both are both of our favorite actors. James Stewart, something might do something there. But so Josh, there's your informal invitation. But this month I've only rewatched Strangers on a Train, but plan on watching more. Hey, Strangers on a Train is a great one.
Need to see that one.
Hey, dude, happy birthday.
Ooh,
I hope you get it. Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Really?
I'm not filming. Yeah, I'm not at home right now, but I have a set too. I'm thinking about selling the set and getting the individual steelbooks, but I don't know yet.
Really?
The steelbooks look nice. I'm tempted to sell it.
Yeah, it's like I'm so conflicted. Okay, are you guys going to do spoiler warnings for some of his less famous movies? Honestly, yeah, we will, but I wasn't planning on talking about spoilers anyway. So
my thought is, I don't know if you guys have the same thought. Like, the movie's like 50, 60 years old, so like if you haven't watched it by now, you probably aren't that interested in it, to be honest. Or you probably like there are Hitchcock movies like that I know for a fact I haven't seen, but I know what they're about just because they're old, and I'm not going to be upset.
Sure.
That's kind of my
for what it's
thing
worth, though,
spoilers.
I do know there are some people who don't want things spoiled, and so if you do spoil anything, give a warning. I don't plan on spoiling anything though, and if I do, obviously I'll say something. What's funny is that Rebecca's the only Hitchcock I've seen. I've been really lacking. It's so funny. That's like, I don't love Rebecca that much. I rewatched Rear Window today. Still love, although I still think elements of the third act are a little hokey, but it's still a classic. For me, my biggest complaint with Rear Window is that it's a lot of setup, but the last 20 minutes, it's all worth it because it's just so crazy.
Definitely.
So good.
And it's crazy because I have complained about it, yet it's like my number 2 Hitchcock film, so it's like, I still love it. Yes! Josh is down. Okay, cool. Strange on the Train has the weirdest humor of any Hitchcock film. Yeah, Antony is amazing and crazy. Antony, I think that's the villain's name in that.
I'm planning to buy that on Blu-ray really soon. So, yeah.
Nice, dude. I own that one, yeah.
Not yet.
Okay, we're going to answer this question, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we've been watching this month. I don't know if you – we haven't answered this yet, but I have not seen Family Plot. I think that since I watched Stage Fright – have any of you seen Family Plot?
No.
Not yet.
But now that I see it was composed by John Williams, I'm definitely going to watch that.
It's in this set right
Isn't
here.
that amazing? Okay, I'm going to add Jackson to the stream.
Because usually,
Jackson.
Wasn't his collaborator on a lot of them? Wasn't it Bernard Herrmann? I've seen his name. It was like that was like his big collaborator.
It was, yeah. And then they had a disagreement on Marnie. I want to say it was either Marnie or the Birds, and they didn't work together after that.
No, I think it was Marnie because the Birds. I'm pretty sure he was the composer. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it was probably Marnie then. I think the studio wanted something more. The studio wanted something different, but Bernard.
Yeah, it was something different.
Yeah, both Hitchcock and Bernard, they're pretty stubborn people, and so it's funny that they're partnership. They worked well together. But I was going to say, Family Plot. Now that I've seen Stage Fright, and I was saving that for my last Hitchcock movie, I think I'll have Family Plot be my last Hitchcock movie I ever see for the first time, since it was his last movie too.
Okay.
And I know it's considered one of the worst too, so that's great. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited to hear John Williams' score because I just discovered that about a week ago that he was the one who composed that, and that's really fascinating to me.
Same.
But
I didn't know that until now.
Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, so guys, I'm going to post a comment. This is for the viewers and for everyone in the stream. What have you watched so far this month? Maybe each share like 2 movies that you've seen, if you've seen 2 movies, if you've only seen 1, or if you've seen none and you plan on seeing some, that's fine too. Jackson, how about you start us off?
Okay. So I've only actually watched 2, but
nice.
I've technically watched like 2.5 because I watched half of Vertigo and then I fell asleep and I just haven't gone back and finished it. But I've watched Strangers on a Train, and this morning I watched Dial M for Murder again since I was like 12.
So good.
Yeah, that's obviously the better of the 2 in my opinion. I love that movie. That's
I agree.
Yeah,
I would say I like it more too. It's in my top 5, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's actually my top 3, but we'll just leave it at that. But Bernardo, how about you? What have you watched so far this month, man?
I have watched 4 brand new Alfred Hitchcock ones to be watched. So the films are Rebecca, I Confess, Suspicion, Rear Window, and The Trouble with Harry.
Ooh, what did you think of? I want to hear your thoughts on I Confess and Trouble with Harry, because those are 2 lesser known ones.
I Confess was really good. I actually liked it a lot. I loved it too.
Yeah, me too.
And The Trouble with Harry was fine. It was decent. It was enjoyable.
It's such a goofy movie.
Yes, it is.
So Bernardo, are you saying that The Trouble with Harry was actually trouble?
Yes. Yes.
Hitchcock knew what he was doing.
Yes.
He's like,
I
I'll
really
make this movie.
enjoyed that one. I love the characters in it. It's so charming and yet so weird that the situation they're in. It's like it's fun. I like it a lot. It's not great though.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it has like an all-star cast. It has some pretty famous people. Shirley MacLaine is in it. And then I love this guy's name. His name is Ed, and his last name is Wynn. Ed Wynn. Oh. It's just like a funny name to me. But he's the one from he plays Santa Claus in the original Miracle on what is it, 34th
That's
Street?
right.
Street.
Yeah, I can never remember what number it is. The Miracle on the Street. He plays the
34.
original.
I think it's 34.
That's a different
Yeah,
movie, Nate.
Okay, cool. And then he's also in, I want to say he's in Foreign Correspondent, another Hitchcock film. But I can't remember. I get them mixed up. It's one of the ones in the Criterion box set. I want to say it's Foreign Correspondent. But yeah, I agree. Super goofy movie, but a fun one. Joey, what have you watched so far, man?
So far, I rewatched Psycho, and then I watched 4 first-time watches. I watched Rear Window, Vertigo,
Wow.
Rope, and The Birds.
Dude, Rear
Nice.
Window.
Wow, you are
That was
having
your
a great
first time
month.
watching it? Wow.
Yeah, really great for first time too.
That
I know.
is such a good movie.
I'm tied between Rear Window and Rope being my favorite.
Dude, I love that. Favorite? Okay, so favorite of the first time watchers or favorite of anyone you've seen?
Any of one that I've seen.
Oh,
Wow.
nice, dude.
So
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
So
a lot
good.
of people prefer like Vertigo over Rope because that's like it's just more of a critically acclaimed movie, I'd say.
Sure.
But on this rewatch of Vertigo, I realized I'm pretty sure I like Rope more myself. I love
same.
Rope so much. Yeah,
Same.
but I love
Oh my gosh.
both of them. They're like
Same.
I think on my ranking they're right next to each other, but Rope is just like one movie ahead. I love that movie.
I'd have to rewatch both, but I think I like Vertigo more.
I haven't
Right
seen
now.
Rope.
Yeah, and
I
that's
really-
fine, you know.
Yeah, no, I think just because like I've only seen half right now of the rewatch of Vertigo, but even then I'm like there are so many moments just within the first half of Vertigo that I'm going, oh, this is like
So
it's
I
almost
think-
like his
yeah.
2001. I don't know.
Oh no, I totally know what you mean. I feel like Vertigo, when I watch it, I'm like, this is obviously a perfect movie. But with Rope, I think I get more enjoyment out of Rope, whereas Vertigo is just like, come on, obviously this is like a perfect movie.
iconic.
But I still love it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So okay. Nick, what have you watched so far?
So I watched Vertigo as well for the first time. I watched The Birds for the first time, and I am 35 minutes into North by Northwest. So
Nice.
It's your first time, right?
it's all of them are my first time. Yes.
I love it.
So I'm diving deep into Hitchcock. I want to rewatch Rear Window. I've seen the movie twice already. I want to watch it a third time because then I can officially like put it on my favorite movies of all time list because I know it's on there, dude. I love that movie so much.
It's so good.
And I also want to watch like Strangers on a Train, Frenzy. Like there's a lot that I want to see this month. But
You're not missing out on Frenzy.
I honestly agree, but
I think my
Not that
my
it's bad.
least-
It's just not one to prioritize over others. I would think.
Yeah, my least
Yeah.
favorite so far has been The Birds, but I still like the movie. I just
Which I can
Jackson
see,
and I talked
honestly.
about this before, but like the first 2 acts are kind of dull in a way, and like everything kind of picks up in the third act, which is good, but
Well-
it's better than Birdemic. That's all I can say.
oh yeah, of course. Well, the funny thing is, even in that movie, when it does pick up, just because of how desensitized we are and how used we are to modern movies, even when The Birds does pick up, it's just like it's more of kind of like I don't want to say it's so bad it's good because I don't think it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
It's just like it's a laughably scary movie kind of thing.
It's
where-
a B movie, really.
Yeah, it's like
definitely.
it's like a top tier B movie because even then
Yes.
I don't know if I'd say it's like a complete B movie because like I
Right.
think they were taking themselves serious and everything, and so I really love watching it. But like I can see why it's your least favorite, Nick.
It's kinda-
Jackson, what's up?
Oh, Jackson, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like I was reading up on it like a couple of days ago because I was trying to like remember a lot of it so we could talk about it if we did. And a lot of reviews that I was reading, they were saying like it's a great build-in suspense type of movie. And I was like thinking back and I was like, I don't know. I think it goes on a little too long to have any suspense by the end because sure people die and there's like twists of like who dies because of like you don't expect it, but like by that time you're so uninvested because they've just run out their course of the story that's already at hand that the birds attacking is literally just like the last effort of the movie.
Yeah, and also the scene where the lady freaks out at Melanie in the restaurant where she's like, "You bring evil," or whatever she says, and then she like slaps her. That scene is hilarious.
Well, I love the fact that you have, and we talked about this, the creepy children singing in the.
I love that scene.
Sitting outside, like That's
that scene actually is Hitchcock to me. That's like the Hitchcock scene of the movie.
Because it builds on the suspense because all the birds come around and like it's really good. But it's funny how like the 3 movies that I've watched, 2.5. One of them is the quintessential B movie horror from Hitchcock. One of them is his art piece, and then one of them is his take on spy espionage thrillers.
Yeah,
so, kind of cool.
Well, it's crazy because I want to say Psycho was the one he did right after North by Northwest. And a lot of people, the reason that Psycho had such a hard time being made was because studios didn't think it would sell, because he had just done North by Northwest, which was a financial success and everyone loved it. And they were wanting more of those kind of movies from him. But he was like adamant about doing Psycho. And so,
it's cool how Psycho was like such a success because it was like basically a gimmick in a way. It was kind of like people were more intrigued by like, don't spoil anything, and people are like, hey, what is there not? What are you not supposed to be spoiling? What's going on in this movie? And that's why it was such a huge success.
And I'm like full of Psycho knowledge right now because I've been reading the Janet Leigh autobiography of her experience on Psycho. But
you know what
it's so cool.
I was going to say, you know what it reminds me of? I was going to say, just real quick, Nate, I was going to say that point that you mentioned, Jackson, it reminds me so much of like when a Marvel movie comes out and the actors go, hey, don't spoil it for people. And same thing with like Star Wars. Like that's what Psycho was back then. Like that's why, and it's still working today.
It was the beginning of that trend.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Diablo did that too. No, you're good. Diablo did that too. Both around the same time frame. But I was going to say, the critics at the time of Psycho's release were annoyed because Hitchcock wouldn't let them see an early screening. They had to see it with the public. And so some of them were angry upon watching it because they didn't like having to see it with public. Then a lot of them still love the movie. So
like how could you get mad at seeing that movie with like an audience?
Yeah, exactly.
I would revel in that.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so as far as movies I have seen so far this month, my 2 favorites, I confess I saw that for the first time. Really loved it. It's about a priest who is under a confessional. Under a confessional, someone admits that they murdered a particular man. And then the priest is accused of the murder, and he can't say anything because it was under a confessional. And so he can't like say who the murderer was. And so it's a crazy movie, and Montgomery Clift is amazing. Yeah, exactly.
No.
And then I saw Marnie. The ending was great. I saw Marnie for the first time, which is what I've been meaning to see for years. It's in that box set, Bernardo, could you hold that up real quick? Yeah, so Marnie's in that box set right after The Birds. And The Birds and Marnie, I have a different taste in my mouth with them just because I know what was happening behind the scenes. But if I look at them just as movies, I think I'm kind of off and on if I like The Birds or Marnie more, because Marnie was actually pretty enjoyable. Really corny at times, but enjoyable too. But
isn't that Sean Connery?
Yeah, totally. And he's great in it.
Is it a romance movie? That's what my take was, that it was like a romance movie.
Yes and no. It's complicated. It's not a romance like Notorious is a romance. It's a thing where like Sean Connery wants to be with Marnie, but she doesn't want to be with him, and then she has a whole bunch of baggage that like they're trying to solve. It's a mystery movie. It's a mystery in the sense that the whole movie, like for an example, have any of you seen Marnie?
No, not yet.
All right, so this movie, this isn't a spoiler. You find this out in the first few minutes, but whenever she sees the color red, she freaks out. And so the whole movie, it's one of those mysteries where you're like, what? Like, what does the color red mean to her? What does that mean? And so it's kind of like trying to discover what's wrong with her, and Sean Connery's trying to help her through that. But
it's very psychological.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I wanted to highlight this comment because I actually saw Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That was one of my first time watches. I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith is his worst, and I think Rebecca is his most underrated. Rebecca is actually my number 1 favorite Hitchcock film. That's impressive. I do not think Mr. and Mrs. Smith is his worst. I actually love that movie. Loved it for what I went in with low expectations because I'm like, come on, Hitchcock in a screwball comedy, this can't be good. I laughed several times. Like, this movie is genuinely funny, And my Letterboxd review says it, but the weirdest part is seeing Alfred Hitchcock make a cameo because you're like, wait a sec, this is a Hitchcock movie? It's crazy. And I don't think Rebecca is underrated at all, personally. But
no, yeah, because it won Best Picture. I mean, I
it won
don't
Best Picture, and it's in the Criterion Collection, and it's based on the novel. Like,
yeah, anybody except for Nate who don't really like it that much.
What was that?
I said I haven't met people that don't like it very much, except for you.
See, for me, it's a movie that I want to like so bad. I've seen it. I think I've either seen it 2 or 3 times in my life, and I want to like it, but I just can't get the hype. I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah.
One day,
I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. Yeah, I hope so.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a good one. You'll get there eventually.
Haven't seen
Foreign
this one.
Correspondent is underrated. Yeah, this one's on the Criterion Collection. Highly recommend that one. I love that one. That one I think sits right outside my top 10.
If we're talking about underrated Hitchcock, the most underrated Hitchcock movie that I have watched is Shadow of a Doubt, starring Joseph Cotton. That movie's great.
Yes,
so
and Teresa Wright. Don't forget Teresa Wright.
Yeah, and Teresa Wright.
She's amazing. Sorry, she's like my standout for me.
She's really good in it, but it's kind of funny because like I watched that movie in a film class, and when I watched it for the first time, the first thought was I didn't even realize it was a Hitchcock movie because they started playing it and they didn't really like I didn't really have any context. But I watched it and I was like, this feels like a Hitchcock movie, and it was. It's like in my opinion, one of his most underrated, and a lot of people don't talk about that one.
Yeah, that one was also Alfred Hitchcock's and his wife Alma Reville's favorite movie they made too, and Henry Travers, who plays Clarence the Angel in Wonderful Life, is in it, and so I always love when a Wonderful Life actor pops up in a movie. It's like my favorite thing. But I'm just kind of going through the comments right now. Everyone's sharing all their thoughts, so thank you for sharing those. Personally, okay, I want to acknowledge this one. Is Frenchie actually that bad? Okay, the way I look at it is it's not a bad movie, but I just don't personally like it. Jackson, what are your thoughts? I don't like the subject matter, and it doesn't feel like Hitchcock. It feels like Hitchcock, but it doesn't. It just feels like an off Hitchcock movie. It makes sense. It was one of his last ones.
There's one scene in it because I've read a little bit into like I wanted to look at the parents' guide because I was like, why is it rated R? Like that's so weird for a Hitchcock movie. And there's one scene that I kind of want to skip. From what I saw,
there's a few scenes you should skip if it's up to me, but
I don't deal with it. I don't like
in fact, the first 5 minutes. Skip that too while you're at it. But Jackson, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's fine. It's got its moments. There's definitely scenes in there where you're
the potato truck.
The Hitchcock movie, yeah, exactly.
The potato truck, yeah, that's like the Hitchcock to me.
That and like a couple of the murder scenes. I think there's only like one though. There's really only like one. Yeah. Before that shot, that scene is actually really intense.
It's true. There's just a really stupid with one of the murders. There's a really stupid face that the victim does at the end, and we'll just kind of.
And it's clearly intentional, but it's like really out of place because the whole scene before that is really dark and like you're kind of like on edge. Yeah, and then it happens, and you're like, wait a second. I just laughed at the end of that because the face they were making.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay, I'm looking through some of the comments. I'm going to go ahead and start on some of the questions that we got, guys. So feel free to answer that in the comment section below as well, everyone who is watching. If you weren't aware, I asked people on Instagram to submit some questions. And that's what we'll be discussing tonight. So we're really excited. Really quickly, is there any maybe what we can do is I can choose a question. I sent you guys all the questions beforehand. So I'll choose a question. And then is your guys' order, is Bernardo next, then Joey, then Jackson, then Nick? Is that your order too?
Yeah.
On the screen?
Yeah.
So let's go in that order. So I'll choose a question we can all answer. And then Bernardo, do you want to choose one of the questions? And then the rest of you can choose one while we're going through.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
It's your live stream, Nate. We're just here doing whatever you want to do. So
yeah.
Nick, I would like you to watch 5 Hitchcock movies by the end of the month, please. That's what my request is.
I already plan on it. So like, that's fine.
Perfect. Then we're on the same page.
Peer pressure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to look for. Okay, I like this one. Well, there's a few I like actually. It's hard to choose just one. Okay, I'm gonna start with this one. Of all the movies released after Hitchcock's lifetime, which movie closely resembles a Hitchcock film to you?
Ooh.
So I'll go ahead and start. I'll answer it and then I'll post the question while someone else is answering. But I made a list of a few movies that I think Hitchcock would appreciate. And my criteria, I was going based off of thrill, like the suspense, because I feel like Hitchcock is really good at presenting something to the audience and then letting it sit with the audience so that like they know something's about to happen, but the characters on screen don't know what's about to happen. So first one I thought of, Parasite. Definitely Parasite.
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho, he literally has a Hitchcock cameo in that movie. So that like within itself. The 2018 film Searching, the one that takes place on the computer, the whole movie.
With John Cho, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, have you
Great
seen that
movie.
one, Joey?
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah,
So
do you
good.
see
Haven't
what
seen
it?
it.
I actually
yeah,
haven't
you
seen
gotta-
it either, but
Yeah, so it's a good. I just thought it was a good suspenseful movie where the whole movie I kept wondering like what was going to happen, and despite being on a screen the whole time, it worked out so well. And then Sixth Sense, I think M. Night Shyamalan is compared to him quite a bit, so I thought of that one. And then I'll just share two more. 10 Cloverfield Lane, only because I'm biasedly in love with that movie, and it's a suspenseful movie.
maybe the first 2/3.
Yeah,
I'd say
maybe
the
he
first
wouldn't.
2/3
Well, I don't know.
definitely
Hitchcock likes a good twist, so you never know.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Maybe he'd be like, there was a twist, but I didn't like it. It sounded too much like Snape. I have to work on that impersonation. But the only other one I could think of was Jaws, but he was still alive when Jaws came out, so
Yeah.
I won't include that. But anyone else can think of one?
I do.
Here's one right here. Yeah.
For me, it's Knives Out.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
That one's good.
It's
That's
a
good
murder
one.
mystery. It's a good old murder mystery that Alfred Hitchcock could do, because you see, Rope. For example, like Rope or Rear Window. That's a murder mystery. So it's kind of like similar to Knives Out. It's a murder mystery. So I think that.
Okay, I got 2 Nolan films.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's kind of crazy. The first one, Inception. He likes those espionage thrillers.
Yeah.
and This is like the definition of an espionage thriller. And when you watch it, even watching Vertigo, like I could see moments where like Christopher Nolan was inspired by Vertigo with certain things that he did in Inception. And then the second one is Insomnia, starring Al Pacino and Robin Williams. That one is very much Hitchcock inspired. Like I that feels like a movie that could have been directed by Hitchcock today.
I like those answers. I feel like Hitchcock sometimes is really good at having, I don't know, Insomnia is one of Nolan's slower films. And to me, in my opinion, Vertigo is a slower film. And it's not a bad thing, but it is a slower film. And so like I kind of think of those two together, although they're completely different plots, but still. All right, Joey or Jackson, you guys got anything?
I got one.
Yeah, well, let's hear it.
The Lego movie. Just kidding. No.
Hitchcock, everybody is
Double-decker couch, man. He would have appreciated that.
Yeah. No, I thought of Prisoners, because me and my dad were talking about it.
Yeah.
We were talking about it like a couple weeks ago, because we remember we watched it, and I was like, "Oh look, Prisoners on HBO Max," and we were talking about it. There was a lot of slow moments that really feel like Hitchcock vibes, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that pick.
Yep.
A lot of people compare Brian De Palma to a modern day Hitchcock, so I haven't seen Blowout, but I can see why you're saying that.
Yeah, he's got some good movies.
Yeah. Okay, Jackson, how about you?
Ooh,
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh,
I was gonna say
yes.
Catch Me If You Can.
Ooh,
7.
yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I like
Definitely.
that.
7.
Gun Girl, there you go, Joey. Yeah, 7. Catch Me If You Can. 7 is if Hitchcock could not be held back at all, he would definitely.
Yeah.
He'd probably like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's like kind of the direction he was going for with Frenzy, but that's just because the
Mm.
limitations of the 70s, he couldn't make
Yeah.
too bad a film. But there was another one that I was just thinking of that I was like, yeah, Hitchcock would love that. Oh, Mission Impossible.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
He would
For
do some
sure.
cool stuff with that series if he like the first couple of movies, I should say, because now they're just an action franchise. But the first
It's
couple of
true.
movies, they're very espionage heavy.
What,
They're
what
not
about
as much-
what about like Ocean's 11?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
A
that's a good
heist. A heist. I'm surprised. I don't think he ever made a heist film. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm just kind
Not
of
the
thinking
one with
out loud.
Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. Which one's that? To Catch a
To
Thief.
Catch a
That
Thief.
was
Catch a Thief. Oh, that one is a heist one. Yeah,
it
Yeah, that's
is?
a heist
Okay.
one.
yeah. It's like it's not a heist one like you see today, but it's a
Yeah.
it's about a cat burglar. So I guess that's a heist one.
I have another
Um,
film that resembles Hitchcock is Life of
Sorry.
Pi because of Lifeboat. So Life of
Oh
Pi.
yeah. Oh yeah. To those who haven't seen Lifeboat, the whole movie takes place on the lifeboat. They're all stranded
Yeah.
in the
So,
boat,
Life
and
of Pi.
and the Hitchcock cameo in that movie is amazing. They're
Oh yeah.
no, I'm not going to spoil it. Let's not spoil it. When you guys
Yeah.
watch Lifeboat, look out for the cameo. It's amazing. But I think this is the best one we've gotten all night. So let's end on that note.
Oh my god.
Let's end on that
imagine.
note.
Marmaduke.
Bernardo, do you have a question? Yeah, Marmaduke, forgot that existed. Okay,
What's
Bernardo,
that?
what would you like us to ask?
Okay,
What
let
question
me
would you like us
find
to
the.
answer?
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Do.
Okay, while you're looking for that, Bernardo, he was
Yeah,
talking
I'm trying
about the
to
first
find-
one with the Rat Pack. I haven't seen the original Ocean's 11 with the Rat Pack, but I need to. It's one of those movies that I know exists, and like I want to see it someday, but I have no priority to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, I got
It
one.
just like exists. All right, Bernardo, let's hear it, man.
Is there a Hitchcock film in color you think would be cool or even better in black and
That's
white?
That's a good question.
So-
Okay. So let's
I
start with
chose-
Bernardo, and then I'll go last. We'll just go
Okay.
in that order.
So I have to think about this one because it needs to fit perfectly. So I
Mhm.
chose Dial M for Murder. Would be a
Ooh,
great
nice.
black and white film to me because it would create that more intensity than color. Because in black and white, you create more suspicion, more of it, if you will, than color. If that makes any sense. I love, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That's my answer.
There's something about black and white movies that adds suspense to a movie that you
Yes.
sometimes can't get in a colored film. So I totally know what you mean.
I don't know if I go spoiler on a particular scene, but that particular scene when the dude was hiding in the closet and trying,
Oh, hiding in the curtain.
Mhm.
yes, and
Yeah.
I think that would make
Yeah,
such
that
a
would be
great scene in
intense.
black and white, because it would create
Yeah.
more.
That was the
eerie
first scene I thought of.
creepiness. Yeah, it would create more creepiness and suspense as well in black and white.
Okay, and then Joey or Nick, do you have an answer prepared?
I have an answer prepared.
Yeah, let's hear
I
it.
was gonna say The Birds. I would love to see it
Love
because
it.
like
Nate
I
C
really
agrees
thought
with
about
you.
ooh, thanks, Nate.
Yeah.
I was really thinking about it because I was watching it and I was like, this feels like a Universal monster movie at some point.
Yeah, it
So
does.
great in
Yeah.
black and white.
It
It would look
does.
really great in black and white.
I'll just, while we're on the topic, I'll go ahead and say my answer because I agree with the birds. That was my answer as well.
That was
Oh,
mine.
yeah.
That was
Cool.
mine. as
Really?
well.
Nice, Nick. Jackson, was that your answer by chance?
No, it was not.
Okay.
But, good.
Okay,
for,
okay,
I
so
love
let's-
that you all agreed.
No,
Can I
let's
say what-
let's stay on
can I
the
say-
birds for a second. So, Nick, what are your thoughts on what should be black and white?
Yeah, I like what Joey said, where it felt like
Yeah.
a Universal Monsters picture, and also I think it would add maybe a little bit more suspense. I think having it in color just, I don't know, it just felt more fake to me, even though it is fake. But like,
Sure.
I would have much rather have
okay.
liked it in black and white. But I wanted to say that for this answer, because it's kind of hard. There's one movie that, in my opinion, should never be black and white, and that's Vertigo. I just don't know how you can make that movie in black and white with the visuals that they have.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
The symbolism of colors in that movie, like I just can't see that.
Oh, there's a lot of symbolism. And I like how this is kind of like a Schindler's List deal or something where it's like you go back and forth from black and white to a little bit of color in there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like the night
for me,
sequence, like you couldn't
sequence. I couldn't see that in black and white. Yeah. For me, yeah, this is just piggybacking off of Nick, but I totally agree. Like, I feel like having the birds in color, it's like you said, it doesn't make it as scary. And I think that's because it feels more modern to us. And we can't take that film seriously when it's compared to like a modern movie. And so black and white, it's almost like a sign of the times. And I think it would have been on the same, I'm not saying on the same level as Psycho, because I love Psycho, but I think it would have been closer to Psycho for me, where it's just like, I can get past, even if Psycho's cheesy at times, I can get past it because the black and white just like totally adds to the story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, Jackson, how about you, man?
So I'm gonna like switch it up on this question because I don't really see any other, like, I don't really think any of his movies that are in color should be in black and white because there clearly is a reason they're in
for a reason. Yeah.
Color. Yeah. The only one I can think of though would be Rope. Like that's the closest I would think to being in black and white, but that would just be purely for aesthetic. That would not be any like symbolic or like artistic choice. But I was gonna say do a black and white in color, and that would be Rebecca.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I like that.
Like I love the black and white in that movie because it's got some really good imagery, like the silhouettes and stuff really add to the atmosphere. But I think you could do that with dark, like kind of like gothic colors. And I thought, I think that would look really nice in that movie. So,
and Gone with the Wind came out in color a year before, and so it's definitely something that could have happened. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, of why it's in black and white.
That's what I loved about Hitchcock was like Hitchcock has, he said that he would use the colors or not use colors based on like if it fit the plot. Like for example, like Psycho, like he could have made that movie in color, but I would hate watching that movie in color. I just think it's such a perfect movie.
Well, I think it would be the thing I was saying about the birds, where I don't think it'd feel as scary because we would be like, oh, this is it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the black and white really complements that movie.
If you want to see it in color, go watch the 90s remake. That's literally shot for shot the exact same movie.
But no, the difference is the thing they add is nudity, and it's like, okay, then.
Yeah.
And I think there's a sex scene at the beginning between Sam and
Marion.
Marion, yeah.
I've only seen it once, and it was years ago, so I don't remember. But it's not very memorable.
That movie and the sequels to Psycho, I don't have any intentions of ever watching.
I've heard Psycho 2 and 3 are actually.
I've heard the sequels are pretty decent.
See, I've heard that so the book, Janet Leigh actually said she likes the fourth one the most, and that was the TV movie. I'm like, what the freak?
Isn't it? That's the one that was directed by
Anthony all available on Blu-ray by Scream Factory.
Anthony Perkins did the third one.
The third one, yeah, that's like the cult favorite.
Yeah, I wanted to quickly go out of order and ask this question, Joy, before you ask your question, just because I love this question.
James Stewart.
Would you rather have a 1-hour conversation with Alfred Hitchcock or James Stewart? So Joey says James Stewart. Who votes? Okay, how about this? Who votes James Stewart? All right, so Jackson and Joey, we got Hitchcock.
I mean, I'd only want to have a conversation with Hitchcock for the fact that like I'm aspiring to be a filmmaker and I'd like to ask him some questions. But I feel like when it comes to James Stewart, like he has an easier voice. To me, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I could listen to Hitchcock talk all day. Honestly, I love his voice.
Yeah, I love James Stewart's voice, man.
I seriously, it's so funny that Josh asks this because you know that question people ask sometimes, like maybe a get to know you question where it's like, if you could have dinner with anyone famous, who would it be? I'm not even joking. My holdup is Alfred Hitchcock or James Stewart. Those are like the two that I'm always on trying to decide between. But I think at the end of the day, I would choose James Stewart just because I feel a little bit more connected to him. But man, like Hitchcock, I would have so many questions for him because like, there's a lot of, he was very private and a lot of people don't know. Like even in the book, Janet Leigh says, like to this day, people don't know the answer to this certain thing because he just didn't say anything.
And for me, I will ask so many questions about filmmaking. aspect of it to Hitchcock, like how you did that, how you made that shot, how you directed this shot, because that's something I would ask a lot to Hitchcock.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why I'd want to talk to Hitchcock, to be honest. But James Stewart, I want to get more into his life because I'm more fascinated with him as a person. Not that I don't like Hitchcock, but like, I don't know. There was just so much to James Stewart that I just feel like he was a persona more than just like an actor. He was an actual persona.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And Joe, is there a reason you choose Hitchcock over James Stewart?
Pretty much the same thing. What we all been saying. Like we have so many questions, and also to like get advice on like, because what I want to do, I would love to do script writing, and also maybe cinematography, eventually. So it would be really cool to like get random ideas. Like plus, especially for some choices of camera shots, I would really love to know like how he got that idea.
Yeah. I love that. And then Joey, do you have a question prepared you'd like for us to discuss?
Yes. Since we mentioned this a lot, where is it? I have a question.
You're totally fine. While you look for that, I can also just share some comments.
What's your favorite Hitchcock cameo?
Oh, nice. Okay, so we might get a spoiler for Lifeboat here, but it's okay if we do. Okay, so Joey, you start us off, man.
Mine's the most random one because I think I was watching in the living room, and I was just like, "Is that Hitchcock?" And like,
those are the best ones.
Yeah, my brother turned around. And he's like, "That looks like him," and it was Vertigo because it was just so random for me.
Oh yeah, he just walks by.
I'm like walking, and I'm like, "Hey, is that him?" And I had to rewind.
Yeah.
I love that cameo. That cameo was just too perfect. It's so random.
Nice. And then how about you, Jackson?
I actually kind of liked his in Strangers on a Train.
Oh yes. Is it yeah, explain it. It's the one where he's boarding, right?
Yeah, he's boarding and he's got a giant cello or like bass or something. And I was like, okay, there's no way that dude's schlepping that all through the city. There's no way. Like it's just such a
That's why it's such a great kid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that one. And then Nick, how about you, man?
All right, mine's subtle, and it's not because it's the most recent that I've seen, but it's the one in North by Northwest. Like it's right at the beginning,
funny one.
And he literally misses the train, and the train or the bus door closes right on his face. I just think that's so hilarious to me because we've all been there. And like I actually rewound it so I could watch it again because I just thought it was so funny and kind of unexpected because it was like right away, right when the movie starts. And yeah, I just really like that one. Just the subtlety in it. It's really good. And the look on his face too, you could tell that he's just so like frustrated because he missed the
bus. Yeah, I love that one. I was gonna say so. Oh, okay. So this one, I'm sharing a few comments. Stage fright is a funny one because she's like walking down the street reading something, and it's his backside. He walks by and then turns around and looks at her and then keeps walking. It's like, well, there's Hitchcock. But one of my favorites, this is so random. It's in a movie that it's like not even off the top of my list, not even close, but it's an older one called Blackmail. And I don't know if this is my ultimate favorite, but I love this one. What happens is, this is like early Hitchcock. You can tell he's young. And he's sitting on a train, and the shot is he's sitting down. Yeah, he's reading a book, and this kid in front of him is like messing with his hat, and Hitchcock's like getting so frustrated with this dang kid. And Hitchcock, I think, might even like discipline the kid or something. And he goes back to reading, and even Hitchcock's like he's like still so hurt. But one other one I wanted to mention, I can't remember which movie this is right now, but there's one where he walks by. I want to say it's at a train station, and he walks by and he does the weirdest thing where he does this. He's like, I don't know how to explain it, but he does it like twice. He like does this with his shoulders, and I don't understand why he does it. And I think it's like the funniest thing.
He's trying to be goofy. He's just trying to be goofy. That's all.
That's probably exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I also think he wants to make it obvious that it's him, because like I mean, you know who Alfred Hitchcock is. He doesn't look like anybody you've ever seen. Maybe my Uncle Ronnie. My Uncle Ronnie kind of looks like Hitchcock a little bit. So like when he does this, it's probably because he's like, I'm Hitchcock and I want people to know that it's me. Yeah, you're right.
It's just funny because he never does it in any other cameo. It's just like weird. But Bernardo, how about you? What's your favorite?
This is a recent one, I confess, because it was so cute.
Oh, I like that one.
So basically, he just speed walks. Like, oh,
yeah, and he looks funny too.
It was so cute. I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
It was a cute thing.
He kind of has a strut when he walks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He kind of has like a strut.
Yeah, he was speed
It's so
walking.
adorable.
Yeah, he's trying to get the day. He's trying to get rid of the day, whatever. He just speed walks. So cute. I thought it was cute.
And it's in the first not even 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So it happens very, very beginning of the movie.
There's a wide shot. It was an exterior, and he just walks. He walks. It's just so cute.
He's such an adorable guy. All right, I haven't seen The Happening.
The Crappening, you mean? Sorry,
I've heard.
Happening. Yeah.
What?
No, I've heard that it's not a good movie, so that's why I haven't seen it. But
that movie's hilarious.
Oh, I actually So really quickly, I was watching Dial M for Murder, one of the bonus features, and M. Night Shyamalan actually has he has a part in the bonus feature. And he mentions that his cameos were not influenced by Alfred Hitchcock. So, fun fact there. I just discovered that myself. He said something like, a lot of people ask me, "Oh, you do that Hitchcock thing, right? Like where he's in his own movies." And Shyamalan just briefly said, "And like, no, that's not the reason I do it. But yeah, I like that he does that." And so he doesn't elaborate on it, but
a lot of directors did it back in the day, and like even today, like. I mean, Quentin Tarantino. I mean, he hasn't done it lately, but he was in a lot of his movies.
Oh, he has the funniest cameos.
Yeah. And like even
Django.
Django. That's what I said.
That's the best.
That's
like one of the best director cameos ever.
Wes Craven. He also did a lot of cameos in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's
one in
not just a Hitchcock thing. I mean, Hitchcock was probably the first maybe to do it. That was big, but. A lot of directors do it, so they could probably find influences in other people that aren't just Hitchcock.
Yeah. And then Marnie, that's one where he just walks out of a hotel room, looks at the camera, and that's it. So that's a very easy one to. It's not like an office where like the camera's in front of me, like looks at it. He just like walks out and like looks over, and then the scene ends.
Oh, so it's not him breaking the fourth wall?
No, definitely not. It's him. It's more so just like this old guy's walking out of his hotel room and looking down the hall, and he like keeps walking, and then it ends. But Jackson, what question would you like us to answer?
Which actor that didn't work with Hitchcock would you like to have seen in a Hitchcock film?
All
right, start us off, man.
I'm going to go with our good friend James Mason.
Ooh, nice. You like James Mason.
I love James Mason. I think he would have been a really good villain. Him in Dial M for Murder as Ray Milland's part would have been even better, even though Ray Milland in that role is fantastic, and I think I
have a hard time
part of that movie. I know it's hard to say that, but I'm saying because he is the best part of that movie, but it's also like I would have liked to have seen James Mason do it because he would have done such a creepy, like slimier job of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not better. I wouldn't say better because Ray Milland is that's one of the best performances in any Hitchcock movie.
I agree. He's like such a likable villain. Like you're rooting for him, and like when he calls, like when he's calling his wife, and the plan's not. Well, I don't want to spoil Dial M, but
don't spoil.
I'm not going to say anything, but you guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen it.
I do know.
Okay, so Nick, how about you, man? Which actor would you like to see work with Hitchcock?
We're talking about like past directors or like
past actors, like when Hitchcock was alive. Okay. Which actor would you have loved to see?
I'm not gonna lie, I love this actress, Helen Mirren.
Oh yeah,
I feel like, and I mean, she started her first film credit was in 1966, so Hitchcock was still around. But
it's possible. That's funny you chose her because
I really like her as an actress. I always have. I just think she has a lot of charm, and not only that, she was a blonde bombshell back in the day, which is like what Hitchcock loved. So it's kind of crazy that she was never. Front and center, because back in the day she was like she kind of started becoming like a bigger actress, and she still is today. But yeah, Helen Mirren's probably my choice.
It's funny you say that because she plays Hitchcock's wife in the 2012 Alfred Hitchcock movie. So I think that's so funny. Okay, my turn. So Sidney Poitier, Katharine Hepburn.
That was my pick.
Oh, that was your pick?
Katharine Hepburn was my pick.
Katharine Hepburn. Okay, I'll get to you in a second, Bernardo. I think because, like, funny enough, my pick is a Hepburn, but the other one I would have liked Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey, okay.
Yeah, and I love Sidney Poitier too. That idea, and then also I want to acknowledge Josh's comment in a second too. But Audrey Hepburn, I found out that she was actually supposed to star in The Birds, but it ended up going to Tippi Hedren.
Really?
And yeah, they were considering Audrey Hepburn for The Birds. And then Audrey Hepburn also, there was another movie she was going to be in that didn't work out. And so it's sad because, like, there's so many, like, almost there. Like, almost there. You know what I mean?
Imagine.
Star Wars fans.
Imagine.
Yeah, but it would have been great. But I guess I can get some solace in Charade because that's the closest thing to a Hitchcock film, right?
That's right. Yeah, Charade was
Charade is such a
that
Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, and Cary Grant's in it, so it's basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to discredit the director of that movie though, because great job, dude. But
great.
All right, Bernardo, Katharine Hepburn's your pick. Why would you choose Katharine Hepburn?
I just think either any role, either in a suspense film or a comedy film, I think would be fit perfectly for Alfred Hitchcock film. For example, in a role, for example, like a Grace Kelly role in Rear Window, I think Katharine Hepburn would be perfect job in that role, no matter what actress she would play on. I don't know. It's like she's the best actress in the black and white era because she's one of the best of the best. I just think she'll be fit perfectly in the Hitchcock film, any genre, any script that she would give in. And my other picks, I know this is biased, but it's Toshio Mifune in High and Low. He will be. I wish he was in Hitchcock film. I would imagine that. That'd be amazing.
I have another one that I don't know if he was in a Hitchcock film.
Something wrong with Nathan.
Oh yeah, he's frozen.
The face
I'll wait for him to get back because he's probably like trying to talk to us, but he doesn't know he's frozen.
Or he can hear us right now and he's just not coming through.
We're having technical difficulties. So yeah.
Let's just answer some questions then in the comments.
Let's just hate Nathan.
Never mind. It doesn't matter because he was actually. I was gonna say Henry Fonda, but he was in The Wrong Man apparently.
Yeah, he was in The Wrong Man. That's true.
Because he's one of my favorite actors, like of all time.
He's good.
So
He's really great.
I didn't realize.
Wait, no, Henry Fonda was in a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, he was.
The Wrong Man.
Yeah, we just said that. Yeah, with Vera Miles. No, you're good.
My pick was Katharine Hepburn and Toshio Mifune, but also Robert Mitchum in Another Hunter fame. He would be amazing in Hitchcock film.
I think. Let me see. Someone in the chat had said Charlie Chaplin.
That would be interesting.
That would have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Night of the Hunter is kind of like a Hitchcock movie in and of itself.
Yes, it does.
It's really well, and I think that because Charles Laughton worked with Hitchcock like on a few occasions, so he definitely took some notes while he was working. With
some notes.
He had to have been, because there are a lot of influences you can see.
Did Charles Laughton work with Hitchcock, by the way? Just
who?
Wondering. Charles Laughton.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did a few times actually.
Okay.
Nate would be the guy to ask on that because he loves both people. He loves both Charles Laughton and Hitchcock. So
yeah, I would love Mitchum to be in part of the Hitchcock film. Love that. And
what about you, Joey?
For me, I had.
There you go.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, welcome back, Nate.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. For actor Steve McQueen. That's because I saw The Blob.
Ooh.
And he was so fun in that movie. He was ridiculously fun. He knew how to handle that role. And then, also correct me if I'm wrong, Judy Garland, I would also love to have seen in a Hitchcock movie.
Yes.
I don't know if she's in one, but I would have loved to have seen her.
Yeah,
I don't think she was because I think she quit
She
acting around that time. I think, or she was more focused on music or whatever. She was going through some problems.
Nathan, when you were gone, I also mentioned Robert Mitchum.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So what happened is my Wi-Fi went out, and so right now I'm currently connected to my phone. Fun fact, you guys are all frozen on my screen right now, but I can see you moving through the YouTube video that's on my phone right here. So that's how I'm seeing you guys move. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at you guys. I'll put it right here. So, but yeah, my Wi-Fi just cut out randomly.
I also said Nate, but I was wrong because he wasn't a Hitchcock movie, which I gotta watch now. Henry Fonda. So The Wrong Man.
Yeah, The Wrong Man.
Oh, he was.
Gotta watch that one now because I love Henry Fonda.
But me and Bernardo.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, but we were just saying how Charles Laughton he had to have been inspired by Hitchcock working with him a few times while making Night of the Hunter because it's got so many Hitchcock-esque scenes.
It gotta be.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, and I was going to quickly say two things. So I was watching a video the other day with Hitchcock, and he was being interviewed, and he said the 4 hardest things to direct are dogs. I think he said children. He said boats and Charles Laughton, because Charles Laughton was like such a perfectionist. And there's a story of on Jamaica Inn, the set of the Jamaica Inn. Charles Laughton going off to the side and crying because he couldn't get the scene right, and Hitchcock, it's just like a funny story and kind of a sad story too. But and then I was
Hitchcock making fun of him.
No, he's not making fun of it. What happens is Laughton, he's like crying, and Hitchcock goes over and puts his hand on his back, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And Charles Laughton is like, "We're just a bunch of," he says something like, "We're just a bunch of old babies, aren't we?" And Hitchcock's like, "Speak for yourself, man. Like, what are you talking about?" he didn't say that, but like, that's pretty much what he's like. Are you kidding me, man? Like, this is you crying, not me. But that's like from Hitchcock's words himself. I'll send you the link if you want to watch it. Anyways,
I want to see that.
Please.
I want to see
yeah,
it.
no, I'll have to find it. It's like it was in an interview he did with Ingrid Bergman's daughter. Really cool. But
Isabella Rossellini.
I think so, actually. Is that her name?
That's her name.
I think that's her name. Yeah,
because she
nice.
was like the.
Well,
80s
it's funny because before I knew.
show.
I mean, look at her mom.
Before I knew that. Nick, you always have to sneak something in with Ingrid Bergman. But I was gonna say really quickly, The Wrong Man is Hitchcock's only biopic, and his cameo in that movie. It's not really a cameo. He introduces the movie. He actually says like, "Here's a movie. This is not like anything you've seen before from me." It's kind of interesting. So I think you'll like that one.
I definitely need to check it out because I love Henry Fonda. He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
So good.
I have it on digital because I found it on iTunes for $5 one time, or like over a year ago, and I was like, "Oh, a Hitchcock movie for $5 on digital? Sign me up!"
Right here.
So I did it. Haven't
Okay.
watched it, so now I have a reason to.
Yeah.
There you go. I had that same set, Bernardo.
Yeah, I got cheaper.
Yeah, that's a good one.
$10. Yeah, great. I know you. I know you listen. Sorry, I don't know you heard me,
Go
but
ahead.
I was in Toshio Mifune, in High Low. He works with Akira Kurosawa films.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What was the first thing you said? My Wi-Fi still a little, or my connection's still a little spotty.
Toshio Mifune, the one of the Japanese actors in High Low.
Yes.
He'll be in Hitchcock film.
Yes, that is so true. I could totally see that, man.
Despite being
That'd be amazing.
Japanese.
Okay, I'm gonna see if can you guys see on my screen? Can you see the comment I'm sharing right now from Josh?
Yeah, we
Okay,
can see
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so Ernest Borgnine, Josh, if you're still recently talking, am I still here?
Yeah, you were just kind of like lagging for a second.
Okay, if I cut out, guys, just keep talking. But
Got it.
Yeah, so Josh, I was on the phone with Carson Bates the other day, and we were talking about how you and him are watching Ernest Borgnine films, and I just wanted to quickly say, love Ernest Borgnine. So I am totally down for that. I would love to see him in a movie with Hitchcock. Okay. One of the Kings of Horror was There Has Their Birthday on a Friday the 13th. This isn't a question, and Nick, we'll definitely get to you for for your question, but I want to quickly say I don't really consider Hitchcock the king of horror. He's the king of suspense.
King of suspense.
He's really not.
Horror and thriller are and I've said this a million times. Horror and thriller are two different genres.
Very different.
Genres. They're similar in terms of building suspense, but they're different completely. It's
so true. Like, I always go to this, but to me, 10 Cloverfield Lane, that's a thriller. It's not a horror movie.
Yeah. That's a thriller. Yep.
It has horror in it.
Okay,
it's just still a thriller.
Yes,
I think the best way to classify it, the way I look at it, is thrillers tend to have more action, and horror tends to have more scares, like more actual, like creepy things going on. That's kind of the way I've always kind of seen it.
And I also think that thrillers, you know what's happening much earlier on, whereas horrors, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's like a big difference too. Okay, so my whole screen is kind of glitching right now. So I'm watching the YouTube video on my phone, but I'm hoping that these comments.
Yeah, the comment Tyrone Power.
Tyrone Power, he's great in witness for
good.
The prosecution, so I'd agree with that.
And Nightmare Alley as well.
Okay, cool, good.
I have a question, Nate, and you would know this.
And then early chaplain. I need to see him in that. Yeah.
We're having problems.
What just happened?
I don't know.
I think we lost him.
I was going to ask Nate if Humphrey Bogart was in a Hitchcock film, because I think he'd be another person I'd love to see in a Hitchcock movie. I don't think he was, though.
I don't think he was. No, it doesn't. It does not. He would definitely be in one of the bigger ones. It wouldn't be a small Hitchcock film. So I'm starting to think no.
He was up there with Cary Grant and James Stewart as kind of like those leading men of Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he was.
Another film that's very Hitchcockian is The Maltese Falcon.
Maltese Falcon is very Hitchcockian.
Yeah. We lost Nate again, by the way, Joey.
We did, yeah.
I was looking at IMDb right now.
The show will go on as we wait for Nate. We should probably, we've been on this topic for a while. We could probably switch topics.
Sure.
I don't know.
Nick, what was your question that you had?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
So, okay.
Hard to choose.
What were the first 3 Hitchcock films you saw? And what were your impressions, I guess, of the first 3 that you saw of Hitchcock?
Well, first, because it's easy. Psycho, Rear Window, and North by Northwest.
Oh, so you saw the big 3 then.
Big hitters.
Yeah, because my dad was like, "Hey, I want to watch Alfred Hitchcock for the first time," and he told me watch these 3. So Psycho, I just fell in love. Because at the time, I was like, "Ooh, what is Psycho?" Like I've always wanted to see Psycho before, and I love that movie. And Rear Window. Easy,
gosh.
easy.
I could just literally talk for 2 hours about Rear Window if I'm being complete. That movie's amazing.
Rear Window is a film that I would love to revisit as a first time.
I want to see it in the theater. Nate got to watch it in the theater, and I'm jealous.
Nate did get to see it.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I've seen Psycho in the theater too, which was even better.
I was just about to say I would prefer to see over Rear Window.
I'm so jealous that you went to see
Vertigo. I would choose Vertigo over Rear Window too.
Well,
I would too.
Rear Window's my favorite, but I would have to say because of the iconic momentum that Psycho gave for slasher films, that's the one I'd want to see in theaters before anything else too.
And the audio that was uses, oh my gosh,
the shower scene would be the greatest thing ever. But the thing about
really
Rear
quickly.
Window, go ahead.
Well, sorry, I was just going to quickly say I saw it with my older sister in theaters. We planned it out. It was around Mother's Day weekend, which I was like, this is so fitting to play Psycho in the theaters. But it was funny because...
And the Man of Steel trailer.
Yeah, shut up, Jackson. That's an inside joke. But so I was going to say, my sister and I, we were actually kind of low-key pretending like it was our first time seeing it in theaters. Like we were in the 1960s seeing it. And it was like, it kind of made us, although it was goofy, it was like such a cool experience. Like trying to see it for the first time on the big screen, and I don't know, it made it awesome.
No, that sounds awesome, dude.
I'm so jealous. It's so cool.
Me too. All right, so Joey, what was your first 3 Hitchcock movies that you
My
watched?
first 3, if I'm being honest, I watched Psycho around the beginning of. I want to get to that experience later.
Okay.
Around the time of when COVID had first started in March 2020.
Wow.
That 2-week spring break. I've just been watching movies all that spring break long, and Psycho was one of them, but I'll get to that experience later because there's a question similar to that. Then I watched Rear Window, and I believe it was Vertigo. Yes, Vertigo.
Okay.
Nice. My first 3 were Psycho. I watched it on TV years ago when I was a kid. Loved it. My second one was Shadow of a Doubt.
Nice.
Which was
Oh wow.
so cool. And then my third one was Rear Window, which is the one that I just I love that movie. Like, it's my favorite, and I say this, it's out of any movie I've ever seen, the set design on Rear Window is probably my favorite set design.
Yes.
It's a character.
Definitely.
It's a freaking character.
It's
It
so
plays
good.
a character. This is shows you how wonderful Hitchcock is. The apartment complex. Every apartment complex that was shown has its own personality into it.
Yeah.
And plays that so well.
Yeah.
So I can geek out over Rear Window all day long because there's so many things you can talk about Rear Window. It's just I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I just seen that movie a thousand times. Love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably ask Nate now, since we don't know how long we're gonna have him. What are your first 3 Hitchcock movies?
Yeah, my first one was The Birds. I saw it when I was a kid, and I loved it. And then I saw, I think Dial M for Murder was my second one, and it was because my grandma was over. Yeah, my grandma was over, and she loves Alfred Hitchcock, which I found out at that time. And they're like, this is like the guy who did The Birds. And I'm like, oh, that movie's crazy. Like, this is take into account, this is me when I'm like 13 years old or 14 years old, 15 years old saying that. But yeah,
wow,
it's like younger me. Yeah, wow, that's great. But so Rear Wind and like Dial M for Murder, I loved it. Other than the fact that I was really confused by the ending the first time I saw it. Like, I had to just like think about it. But and then North by Northwest, I think, was the third one I ever saw. I didn't see Psycho until after a few movies, but I knew about it the whole time. And has Jackson already answered? I don't know.
No, he hasn't.
Okay, let's hear Jackson.
So my very first one was Dial M for Murder, which my dad showed me when I was like 12.
It's such a good starter.
It really is. And it's like, and it's because there's so many Hitchcock type things in it, but it's also just a great movie. Like other Hitchcock movies, you're watching them for the Hitchcock things, like the way the camera moves, the actors, the thrills. But like Dial M for Murder, you could just watch that and not know it's a Hitchcock movie, and it would still be great.
The dialogue is so rich.
True.
I just love it.
Yes. Oh man, it's one of the best screenplays ever. But
I agree.
Yeah, so I saw that when I was like 12, and I loved it. And I was kind of like you, Nate. I didn't get the ending really, so I was like, all right. So he didn't get away with it. I don't know.
What had happened? I got the ending. It was I don't want to spoil it. It had to do with the key. The key confused me. That's all I'll say.
I was going to put on my Letterboxd review. Never have I ever thought a latch key would be the most important thing in a movie.
Yeah.
It's so true, and it really is. Like it took me a while to like finally understand the meaning of the key. I don't know why, but like finally, I'm like,
well, it's because they only talk about it. They don't really like show too much about it, so you're kind of like having to piece it together. And then finally, they do explain it, and you're like, okay, all right. But so then after
Jackson,
that, it was
it's
Psycho.
common sense. It's common sense, dude.
It is common sense. You just gotta listen. Yeah. So then I saw Psycho in like 8th grade, I think.
Oh,
nice.
And then I saw Rope. That was my third one, and I saw that with Nate for the first time. Yeah,
that's a good.
That was my first time too. Jackson came over, and wasn't it me, you, and my dad watching it?
We watched that, and then like a couple days later, we watched Vertigo.
Yeah, we watched all these James Stewart. It's because I had just gotten the Hitchcock set on Blu-ray, and I was getting into James Stewart too. And so we're like, all right, let's check out this movie called Rope, I guess. And like, yeah, it was a blast. And even then, I'm like, yep, this movie's great.
Yep, Bernardo, you should just hold that box set up the entire time. We're talking about like
no kidding. That's the box set that I'm talking about. It's the exact one. I love that set so much.
So
I like John Voice's first three. The Man Who Knew Too Much, the remake, 39 Steps, and Rear Window. The first two are very interesting. Those are interesting.
That's really unique.
Okay, there we go. That's what I imagine is. I actually don't know what those are his first three. That's awesome. I was gonna say I can imagine the 39 Steps because of Criterion. Oh, oops.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's true.
And then maybe just a fan of James Stewart, I'm guessing.
You're lagging, dude.
Oh, I think we lost him again.
We lost him.
Wait.
So, just because I'm
Nathan?
So
You
one
okay?
question I like that am I here? Oh,
you're in and out.
Yeah,
You're very lagging, dude.
Very.
We
lost.
Oh,
Dang it.
wow.
All right, Nate,
let's talk about Hitchcock. Let's talk about Friday the 13th.
He put it in the chat. Nate put it in the chat. He said favorite decade of Hitchcock.
Oh, that's hard.
That's tough. Because I do like the 60s. He made a lot of good 60s films.
Say 50s because that's where Rear Window, Vertigo,
Yes.
Asylum for Murder.
You know what? 50s. I'm gonna choose 50s.
North by
because there's a lot of
Northwest.
great
Yeah,
gems.
50s.
that's what I was gonna say. Is 50s.
I mean,
It says-
it's hard because like Psycho is so great, but like if you
And
look
that's
at
right on the cusp because that's 60.
Yes.
just on the cusp.
Yeah, but the
thing
50s
is, like that time period in the 50s, man, like that's like
That's a
essential
Yeah.
like that's essential movie watching. Like you
Yeah.
have to watch.
That's
those
also
movies.
Strangers on a Train. That's also
Yes.
Shadow of a Doubt. I think no Shadow of a
It's
Doubt
like
is 48.
hit after hit after hit after hit in the 50s. He got that.
Nate said his favorite is the 50s as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
just a
that's good to
no-brainer.
Yeah.
I love the
43 is
50s.
when Shadow of a Doubt came out.
Okay.
Let's see. TKD said probably the 50s because the majority of his great movies came out then. Cinecreep, Josh says 50s definitely. Mr. Movie Man
Nathan,
said 40s or
please
50s. There he
don't
is.
leave us. Don't leave us
All right,
again,
Nate.
Nathan.
the weirdest thing. Can you hear me and everything?
Yes.
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 Okay, cool. The weirdest thing, I could hear you guys talking perfectly when I was glitching out, but you guys couldn't see me or anything.
Whoa.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, am I here?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was gonna say the 50s is definitely my favorite.
I agree. So good.
Yeah, agreed.
But 40s is pretty good too because that's where
It's-
Rebecca,
I-
Notorious, and
And Rope.
Rope.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
40s
true.
is
Ingrid
great.
Bergman. Ingrid Bergman weighs it a lot for me. So.
And I think Spellbound. I want to say Spellbound was the 40s too, and that was great. But
Suspicion.
I was
have
gonna
not seen
say
Spellbound.
I hate. Yeah, Suspicion is pretty good. Spellbound's great, man. They need to update it to Blu-ray. But Criterion does.
Yes.
I was gonna say though, I hate leaving Psycho behind because I love that. But
I
50s
know
for
it's
me.
so hard.
You have to make sacrifice, Nathan. Sacrifice. You have to make it.
But almost it's kind of like a 2001 where it's like it's not even you can't really just attribute it to Hitchcock because that
Yeah.
movie is so much like more than all of his filmography.
Mm-hmm.
But it also
what
is the
makes him
representation of his filmography. So I don't know.
Yeah.
we could cheat and say 51 to 60 is best Hitchcock.
Yes.
I like that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, if we're doing that, then absolutely. So anyways, okay, let's get a quick question from each of you, and let's just do kind of a speed answer, and then we're going to call it.
Sounds
Cool.
Joey, I know you mentioned you wanted to mention Psycho a little later. What question did you have relating to that?
That one was our first experience with a Hitchcock movie.
Ooh.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Oh no!
Nice. Still go ahead, Joey. Just tell us what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, I have a theory. Maybe Hitchcock, the ghost himself, hunt Nathan. And that's
The
why.
girls from Hitchcock movies?
No, the ghost of
The
Hitchcock.
ghost of Hitchcock's
the ghost
past.
of Hitchcock. Okay. He's
now
after
hunting
Nathan.
and Nathan.
Well, why aren't any of us getting affected?
Well, because he's a fanboy. That's why.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's
fair
because
enough.
he's a bigger fan.
That's why.
All right, Joey. Anyway, you can go ahead and recount that experience for us.
All right, so what was
I'll hear
happening
it.
was that this was when like they were like spring break, 2 weeks. We don't know when we're gonna see you. We're like, oh, okay. So, I had to stay self-isolated in my room. Not that I had COVID at that time. Well, never got it. But we were taking care of my great grandma, who was now 100 years old, and
Wow.
I was mainly going out there to get the groceries since I was the youngest one in the household, and we didn't want anyone else to catch COVID just in case. So that she recommended a movie for me that was Psycho. And all she knows is Spanish.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
so cool.
only English movie she
Yes,
loves.
in Spanish.
Wow.
So
That's so cool.
it was like 3 a.m, and I was not tired, and it was raining, and I was like, lights off, and then the music, dun 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 dun. I was like, okay. Man, it was just such a great experience. I think I woke up my mom from freaking out at the end.
Oh, okay.
I got spoiled by the Funko Pop of Norman Bates.
Ah,
I was so mad about it.
Oh yeah,
Scoop Funko Pop.
That's
Nathan.
Dude, Joey. That's
Sorry.
really cool though.
It was a really great
That's a
experience.
really great experience. Yeah.
Nate's back.
Sorry, I was getting
Welcome
possessed by
back.
Hitchcock's ghost.
Dude, you
That's
are.
what I'm
I'm
saying.
telling you, it's happening.
That's my
That was
theory.
Leonardo's theory.
Yeah, I know. I was watching on my phone, and it's so funny watching you guys without me because I'm just like, I'm here, but I'm not. Okay, so the Wi-Fi's on, and the reason I kept going out was because I was using my phone data, and so yeah, so I think that because the Wi-Fi's on, I think we'll be good for now. But
Okay.
there's a question I've been dying to answer. I don't have an older brother, so I don't know who that guy is. I'm like unable to answer it, and I'm like, no, I don't have an older brother.
You know what's funny?
And by the
though, is,
way,
like
It
Nate,
is super creepy.
yeah. I was gonna say that there's people that have you know those people out there that have those faces that just like I've seen this face before. Nate does not have that type of face. I don't know. I've never seen anybody that looks like Nate, in my opinion. So that is kind of creepy.
Take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment, Nate. You're a very good looking guy.
Oh well, thank you very much.
I'm sorry. You have to get rid of that shirt. It's haunting you right now.
Do you want me? Are you asking me to take my shirt off, Bernardo? Is that what's going on here?
It's haunting you.
Is this what we're getting to? Am I taking my shirt off? Is that where? Okay, no.
No,
We're just gonna.
I'm just
Alright.
joking, dude.
Yeah, no. Just a second. Let me just quickly. All right, I'm taking it off right now. All right, you wish. All right, let's.
I'm just joking, dude.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm messing with that. Okay, so Joey, I heard part of your story, but just for time, let's move on to another question. Write me on Instagram, dude, because I want to hear that story. But who wants to ask the next question, or does anyone else want to share experience of their first Hitchcock film?
I already did when I said what my first Hitchcock was, so and it wasn't really like a mind-blowing experience or anything.
Yeah, for me, The Birds was just like I was a kid and I was like, "Whoa, that was crazy."
Yeah.
And
For me, it was my dad.
It was just my dad was like,
films.
"Hey, this is a Hitchcock movie, and he's an important director. Let's watch this movie."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, same thing with you,
Yeah.
Jackson. My dad, I questioned my dad like, "Hey, I want to start watching Hitchcock film for the first time. Which films, should I watch?" It was like Psycho, Rear Window, and North by Northwest. So yeah, that was my experience per time watching?
For me, it was like at the time when I was young, and I just fell in love with slashers. Like, for those of you who don't know, horror is my favorite genre, and Halloween is my favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
I love that movie. And it was after watching Halloween that I was like, I want to go back and watch like the slashers that inspired this movie, and one of them was Psycho. Yeah. So awesome. That was kind of my and I had heard about who Hitchcock was, because like his name is a staple. I mean, you say Hitchcock, everyone's going to know who you're talking about. Not John Hancock. We're talking Alfred Hitchcock. And so to me, like, I already knew like that Hitchcock was like a major deal. And so watching Psycho, like, I was like, okay, I see why people really like him, because like this is a really good movie, and it's an older movie, and I'm young, and I'm entertained by it. So that means that it's a good movie, because I did not like older movies when I was younger. A lot of them anyway. A lot of them.
Yeah. All right. So any other questions you guys are dying to ask? Well, actually, let's just take 2 more questions and then call it. Cool. Are there any other questions that you guys would love to ask?
I have
love to answer, I should say. Yeah, let's hear it, Bernardo.
If you were stuck in the island, what Hitchcock film you would take you with you? For me, it's easy, simple, Rear Window.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And I rest my case.
Okay, how about, so Nick, I'm sure you agree.
Yeah, I would
Nice.
probably choose Rear Window, just because like with Psycho, I love that movie, but once you kind of get through the twist and you've seen it enough times, it's still rewatchable. I'm not saying it's not. It's just there's not as much to like there's not as many like small details to try to kind of clue into. Whereas like Rear Window, because of the intricacies of the set and everything, like you can find a lot of different things that you didn't see before, and you know,
you find something new.
Yeah, and start kind of getting that in your mind of like, what could this mean? Even like a small thing like a simple pen, which means nothing. Like you're like, what? I wonder what this is for. Like I don't know.
And also the conversation between Chris Kelly and James Stewart, that conversation that they both have, it's just fascinating to hear.
Sorry, I love this answer.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was actually going to say Psycho myself, because I have found that for me personally, I agree with everything you guys said with Rear Window, by the way, because it's my number 2. Come on. But for me, Psycho, that is the movie I have studied the most. Like I freaking just read a whole book about like the making of it from Janet Leigh's perspective. And it's crazy. Even she talks about the symbolism that I've never even thought about, where I'm like, that's so true. Like how birds play a big role in Psycho. I don't know if you guys have ever realized that, but Marion's last name is Crane. And then she lives in Phoenix, Arizona. And then obviously Norman Bates's hobby of taxidermy with the stuffed birds. And then he says that she eats like a bird. And there are some other things too. She had like a list. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would have never thought about that. So that's awesome. That's a movie that even I totally see. It's funny, Nick, because I should agree with you, where it's like once you know the twist, it's not as in your face kind of thing, like on a rewatch. Because that's normally the case with me. But there's something about Psycho where I just like, I never get tired of it. So,
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah. It never gets old. Every time when you watch Psycho, when you revisit the movie, you know, many times, it just it never gets old. It gets you every time. It gains you every time when we visit that film. It never gets old. It's one of those films that
it's so rewatchable. And this question kind of also answers. Someone asked, "What's the most rewatchable Hitchcock film?" I feel like this also kind of answers the question.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Joey and Jackson. What are your answers?
Jackson, you care to go first?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go. I was gonna say Notorious.
Ooh,
yeah, I'm not surprised, Jackson. I know you love that one.
That is like that contends
awesome.
For being my favorite up there with Psycho. Yeah, there's just so much going on. Like it's one of those that I feel like, because I've already seen it like 3 times, but I feel when I keep going back to rewatch it, I'll find more and more to like, because I have upon each rewatch that I've already done. So I feel when I go, why would I be stuck on an island, and why do I care that I'm holding a movie, and where am I getting the TV? Where's the electricity coming from? Is this on a projector? Is this on a Blu-ray player?
This is the kind of things you can't question.
Yeah, this is like the logical side of this, but
I think it's like a movie
man.
that you can play in your head over and over again. How about that?
But it's like you and just think of you and Will. No, straight up, you and Wilson the volleyball on an island with a TV. You do have everything. You're just straight up watching Notorious with Wilson the volleyball.
Okay, I'm down. I'm so down with that. Now that you've painted that picture, I'm ready for it.
Dude, and honestly, like Notorious, because we haven't talked about it much. Claude Rains, and I've said this a million times. His performance in that movie is so creepy, and it's so good. Like
so good.
I thought I loved him in Casablanca. I actually prefer his performance in Notorious than Casablanca.
I agree.
I prefer
Goes
to Washington.
Yeah, and here comes and here comes Mr. Jordan.
Here comes Mr. Jordan, where he's a good guy.
Yet, so
even though I don't love Here Comes Mr. Jordan, I think it's pretty dumb.
Okay, cool.
I thought it got way too wacky towards the end, where it was like they could just switch into any body now, and I was like, what is going on? What are we doing here?
But come on, seeing Claude Rains smile at the end, most warming thing ever.
No, I loved him in it. I wouldn't take anything away
from him.
I like
Robert Montgomery a lot too. Anyways,
yeah, he was good.
Side note, yeah, like whole
the plot is ridiculous in that movie.
It really is. In answer to 123 Rock Fan, I have not seen it. I don't know. I love how we're on a Hitchcock stream and they ask me. Has anyone else seen this?
No, not yet. It's in my radar.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's on my watch list. I kind of want to either watch it this month or maybe in Halloween month. But let's actually.
Oh, Joey didn't give his answer of the.
Yeah, Joey didn't get to say his.
Joey, let's hear your answer.
I had the same answer as Bernardo.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I was guessing that because you and Nick both were like yes, but is there a reason you choose? Is there a reason you choose Rear Window?
I don't know. I just like the slow pacing a lot.
Yeah,
it really takes up my time. I really like that.
I love
the dialogue
critique. Yeah, no, I love that.
Dude,
I feel like
you know what it is about that movie? It's because it's a movie that James Stewart is the main character. But I love those movies where the community as a whole is like a character in itself. Like that's just so cool to me. And Rear Window does it so perfectly.
Yes.
Even though you never leave the apartment, you never leave it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
His girlfriend is most useful and resourceful in the movie.
He's not just the master of suspense; he's the master of space. Because Dial M for Murder takes place in that one room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Rope.
And I cannot.
And Rope.
Yeah,
and
Rope is. Yeah.
As a film student, blocking is one of the most difficult to do, and because you have to set up cameras multiple times, and blocking is the most tedious process you can go through as a director or a cameraman as well. And I was every time I rewatch Rear Window and Rope, I just figured out or think how Hitchcock would think where the camera would put on. It's just so good. Like I can tell blocking had to be tedious.
He's crazy, man. I was reading into Hitchcock a little bit. He didn't even he didn't start off the dream by being like, I want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah,
that was not. He kind of just he was just so artistic and so good at craftsmanship for it that he just kind of eventually found his way to becoming one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, I love you, Hitchcock, but I also hate you, and I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, we're filmmakers. We're young filmmakers. We're just getting started.
I like this comment. I like this comment from Bernardable. Let's actually do our top 3 films. So, top 3 films from each of us, and then we'll call it a wrap. Really quickly, Josh, I see your comment, and I would be very interested. Let's talk on Instagram. But okay, so top 3. How about Bernardo? You start us off, and then we'll go.
Okay.
I'll go last.
I got my letterbox on, so let's do this. Rear Window, that's number 1. Psycho, number 2. Dial M for Murder is number 3. Rope is number 4, and number 5 is Lifeboat.
Wow, Lifeboat's high.
That's number 5. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Joey.
This is hard.
It is.
I've only
we can come back to you if you want.
No, I got it. If I'm being honest, I've only seen 5, but from least to greatest, it's The Birds, then it's Vertigo, then it's Psycho. These two right now they keep flipping, but as of right now, it's Rear Window, number 2, and number 1 Rope.
I love it.
Wow, nice.
Nice.
I love that. Rope is so good.
It is.
All right, Jackson, let's hear it.
Oof. So number 1, my favorite is Psycho, and then Notorious behind it. Man, either Rear Window or Dial M for Murder for the top 3. Like I guess
Nice.
right now that'd be like the tie. They're interchangeable for number 3. So that'd be mine.
Nice. And then Nick, how about your top 3?
Rear Window 1, Psycho 2, and then same thing with Jackson. I have 2 that are just tied for me for third, and that's Dial M for Murder and Shadow of a Doubt. I really like that movie. Like I feel like that movie never gets talked about. That movie's so good.
Yeah, it is. So it's my number 10. It's in my top 10.
My number 6.
Nice, dude. That's high. My top 3 is Psycho's at 1, Rear Window is 2, and Dial M for Murder is 3. And then after that, it's just like it's funny how I think it's funny how we all are torn at one spot because it just shows how great he is as a director.
I know.
But I hope that everyone can watch more Alfred Hitchcock movies, especially this month, and hope everyone has a great rest of their night. Yeah. Thank you to all the guests for joining the live stream tonight. Loved having you guys on here, and thanks for going autopilot when I was kicked out 5 times by Alfred Hitchcock's spirit. But anyways, we're gonna call it. Anyways, yeah. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
See ya.
For having me.
See ya.
End this.